Wakenya si wajinga.
Nyani ni wale wale.
Nyani ni wale wale. Tuko na Zablon Malala anasema Raila ni cartel, wacha washikane watuondolee jam. ODM ni chama ya binafsi. Tuko Grace Felicia anasema langu jicho. Lako jicho inafaa ikuwe macho, kuna mbili. Thank you very much. Tuko na Lucky Angote anasema political broker in Kenya, umekula 9 billion, chukua ingine, God is watching you. Vijana wameuliwa ati unataka haki. The kula ni pekee yako, nonsense. Wakenya wamekasirika. Tuko na Kevin Okwaro anasema Lord fanya mambo gani? Obure Junior anasema sisi hatuna nguvu. Tuko na nguvu kwa ballot. I think 2027 tutapata hiyo nguvu. Patrick Kuguta anasema Raila joining Ruto means nothing for determining factor in ni mwananchi. Moirori wa Irimo anasema we have power, come 2027 we elect a new faces in our country. Alafu tuko na George Rabiko anasema if baba is happy, we are happy too. So kuna hii that interesting comment from Moirori wa Irimo about we have power come 2027. You remember that the NADCO report about now the IEBC. They agreed to Raila Odinga and Kenya Kwanza agreed to form an IEBC selection panel that will favor both sides. And back then we saw a situation where Raila and Ruto were rivals.
Yes.
While they were on opposing sides. And right now they seem to be singing the same song. So does it mean that the IEBC that will be formed this time will favor the common mwananchi, bearing in mind that back then before the whole issue Raila Odinga was in the side ya wananchi, and right now he seems to be joining the government? And do you think that IEBC will be itasaidia Wakenya in any way?
I think that first, before the IEBC is formed, I think that that NADCO report is not. I don't think it acts in the best interests of the Kenyan people. I think what is important here is the constitution, the 2010 constitution. If these two leaders have the best interests of Kenyans at heart, then they will have to involve all the stakeholders in the country to ensure that the IEBC that is going to be formed for the country represent all the stakeholders of this country. We cannot be having two people who are allied in the same side forming the IEBC. That is a no-go zone. That will be very wrong, because we also have the opposition who are now in the Kemba community working hard to ensure that the IEBC is representing all the Kenyan communities. And so I think that it will be very key to see how the matters of the NADCO report will be ventilated, especially in Parliament. That is an issue that needs to be discussed in Parliament, because Parliament is responsible for ensuring that laws are enacted, for coming up with laws that will favor the Kenyan people first. And so if the Kenyan people feel that this IEBC is an institution that actually will work for Ruto and Raila only, I don't think that it will go well with them. And I think that more often than not, now that we have the Gen Zs who actually have the power, when they say something to an institution, like what they said to the leadership of Jesus Winner, which made them have feeble knees and weak legs as a result of the monies that they were promised by Ruto. I think that Gen Zs will not be happy with this, and they can go to the streets. They can actually rally all the Kenyans, all the millennials, to ensure that the IEBC represents the Kenyan people. And also, they have been asking the government to ensure that the IEBC is a representative of the young people. We've just been seeing that IEBC has old people, probably people who are allied to the political establishments, but we need to see young people championing their views and ensuring that they are not only on the table, but they are also in the menu as well. And this time around, the young people are woke. They are watching out to see whether this administration will take into consideration everything that they have vowed for this government to do, and they want to see a change. And if they don't see a change, they'll be back on the streets. So it is going to be interesting to watch. And this will depend on what Raila and Ruto are going to announce, the grand announcement. We don't even know whether they are going to form the government. We still don't know, but these are speculations and rumors that are emerging since they are about to make an announcement. Well, probably they're going to work together. But at some point, you remember Ruto, not Ruto, but Raila had joined the government before, and we found that he had fallen out with Moi. He worked with Kibaki. He worked with Uhuru. With Ruto, it's going, I don't know whether it will give the way the Gen Zs like to put it out there. Okay. Is it giving for Raila and Ruto to work together, knowing that their interests are not allied, knowing that Baba has been very vocal in matters to do with the common Mwananchi? Let's wait and see.
So there's this aspect you mentioned of Raila Odinga's personal interest being served in this coalition, maybe if it will happen. So we all the Kenyans, or most Africans, know that Raila's position in the democratic journey of the country Kenya. And they know him as this person that has been fighting for the freedom, fighting for some things to be implemented, multipartyism, you remember? We have many things that are associated with Raila Odinga, which were in the interest of Kenyans. And that time, when he used to fight for that, he was still in his youth, na alikuwa na ile strength ya kufight na kila kitu. Do you think that why should you now spend all your entire life, youthful life, or majorly, basically life, to fight for what you think is good for the country, and then you choose this move, to join an oppressor, or to join a person that is unpopular among Kenyans as a way to retire? I see it you see, wanasemanga vile umeanza mwendo, haijalishi vile umemaliza ndio inajalisha. So does it mean that Kenyans will rubbish all the things that Raila amefanya so far for their benefit, kwa sababu the way amechoose kubow out of the political seat? And then there's this issue of what on a benefit. Right now, if the coalition was supposed to benefit Kenyans, I see a situation here ya wenye ungekuwa na celebrate saizi normal Kenyans wangetoka pale KCC waenda celebrate, because they see that now this movement will be able to take us somewhere, not ODM supporters going to cheer. Because when you see ODM supporters going to cheer, it basically means that that coalition agreement will benefit more of a ODM party than Kenyans. It's like when ODMs are, maybe there is a rumor that the government will be shared 50-50. We can say 50% from ODM and 50% from Kenyans, from the Kenya Kwanza. So that means that this coalition, the way things are looking, it will benefit more of Raila and benefit the ODM rather than benefit the normal Kenya. Tuko na Baba Kintila anasema niko live Westland, hii imeenda. The 2-year fest anasema hii inchi ya kukula ukipata opportunity. Raila ameng'ang'ana for many years. Sasa ameamua atafute retirement package through backdoor. 2027 is close and behind us. Tuko na Sirmoi Kevin anasema wacha tungoje tuone. Tuko na Nelson Mutsami Msafi anasema what is a benefit to citizen when they unite? That's what we are trying to analyze. You can also tell us, will it make you buy a packet, 2 kg packet of unga at 75 shillings? Tuko na Nelson Musami bado, thank you. Honorable Victor Osawa anasema siasa is a dirty game sana, of course. Na anasema pia noma sana. Yeah, it's a dirty game. So it's like how will I benefit? Nikibenefit hapa, let our friendship be. So it means that even the journey that Raila was making all over the country after the AUC defeat, when he was saying that he was consulting Kenyans, he was actually consulting the ODM leadership in different parts of the country, sorry. Because we saw his meeting in somewhere like Kilifi, Mombasa. Yesterday he was in I think in Narok and Isiolo and Nairobi. He was just majorly meeting ODM leadership and ODM members. Does it mean that ODM members are compared directly to Kenyan citizens, especially the ODM leadership? Because those are people, maybe I assume that they work for a salary. You understand? And normal Kenyans don't have a direct maybe benefit from the government. Like let's say like a salary from the government. You understand? So this situation is very exciting, and I think it's high time for ODM, to be honest, because right now we've seen kuna faction ya wenye na support move ya Raila kuungana na Ruto within ODM, and you also have those people that are against, and kumekuwa like this issue has divided the ODM into 2 parts. Understand? So does it mean that someone like Edwin Sifuna, who vowed not to support Ruto in any way, and we also have Babu Owino who vowed not to support Ruto in any way, will opt to move out of ODM if Raila Odinga continues supporting or joining the government or forming an agreement with the government? Do you see a situation where Sifuna walks out of ODM or Babu Owino?
Well, I think it's still early because we cannot really come to that conclusion as at now, because we are yet to listen to the announcement between Raila and Ruto. And we don't even know whether they are going to work together side by side, or whether their parties are joining together, or how the technicalities will be between Ruto and Raila. But what I do know is that people like Sifuna are politicians who are trying to win the public image.
Okay.
They want to create a good public image in a manner that they stick to their ideology, and they stick to their democratic ideology, and ensure that the needs that the Kenyans are garnering for are met. So people like Babu, people like Sifuna, even if they walk out of ODM, they still will remain politically relevant, because they are actually the people who are garnering for the young people to have a seat in the leadership of this country. We have seen how this old generation have been taking the young people for a ride, saying that young people are the leaders of tomorrow. We have been seeing how the young people have been misused by the politicians over the years since independence, being given monies by the politicians, and yet they are being told lies, a culture of lies that Ruto's administration has been used to since 2022. And you also realize that the person of the president, Ruto, he started out as an MP. Then he joined the coalition. He became a minister of education, where he was involved in graft in the Grand Coalition government. And then he became the vice president. He was sidelined by Uhuru Kenyatta. And then he became the president. And you remember during 2022, he branded Raila Amolo Odinga as a sorcerer, mchawi, aliitwa mchawi. And there's a saying that Senator Sifuna likes to say in the Senate, and he likes to say that Raila Amolo Odinga is the most insulted politician, not only in Kenya but in the continent as well. People cannot understand him, and yet he has developed a thick skin as a result of those negative energy and the aspersions that has been cast against him as a result of being Raila Amolo Odinga. But Raila Amolo Odinga has learned to develop a thick skin. He has learned to develop nerves of steel as a result of all the things that he has gone through. And he realizes that if he does not fight for himself, even these other politicians who are allied to his party will not fight for him. So I think Raila Amolo Odinga realizes that he needs to do what he needs to do. And also remember that the ODM party has over 5 million members across the country, and it has withstood the test of time. Comparing to other political parties in Kenya, ODM has withstood the test of time, and it has been there for over 20 years. And that is something that I would call a great feat. As much as Raila Amolo Odinga might lose credibility, he might lose popularity with most of the Kenyans right now, he needs to be given a standing ovation for ensuring that his party has developed deeper roots. Now, I think that he has a way of dealing with Sifuna. I don't think he can allow Babu Owino and Sifuna to leave. Raila is very smart. As much as he's living in his evening years, he knows the people that can make ODM party to be the party that it should be, and he wants to leave a legacy, knowing that his life made an impact in this country. So, as much as there's a lot of speculation, whether he's selfish, whether he is doing this for the Kenyan people, whether he's doing this for himself, I think that is something that we need to wait and see. It is possible for him to work with Ruto, and it is also possible with him to decide that he's going to work with Ruto as a separate legal entity, not necessarily joining the government, but also putting the government in check. You remember when he was with Ruto, he said that in the presence of President Ruto, Raila Amolo Odinga is not the person to fear anybody. He speaks truth to power, and he told Ruto that he needs to stop abductions. Abductions need to stop. Extrajudicial killings need to stop. And also the Kenya Kwanza administration need to ensure that all the promises that they made in the year 2022, that they are actualized. So I think, Kenyans, like I am, are very expectant.
So thank you very much for those commenting and tuning into Lightcast TV Kenya live on Facebook and YouTube. And thank you very much for your comments and sharing the broadcast. And you can tell us unatuwatch ukiwa wapi. Na pia kuna comment kwa YouTube, kuna mwenye anasema, huyo ni Jedida Ndenya, anasema will never vote again. To hell with politics. So we have there
are many of us who said in the year 2022 that they're not going to vote again, but this 2027, I think it's important for the Gen Zs. Especially, I make a clarion call to the Gen Zs. It is time to drain the swamp. as much as Raila has done a lot for this country, he will remain as a legacy that is going to be remembered even if he doesn't run for 2027 elections. Whether he runs or not, Raila Amolo Odinga will remain to be a pivotal figure that is feared around the political circles in this country, no matter how much he is hated by other communities. They are always going to rally around the fact that he created a democracy and fought for the second liberation of this country. That is something that we cannot forget. He is the father of devolution. Remember, devolution started with him, and so he's regarded as the father of devolution. He's the one who coined out the mandamanos for this country, and he taught the Gen Zs how things are done on the ground. And if they want change, then they need to do it on the streets. The desire to picket, the desire to ensure that they speak their minds and speak truth to power. So I think no matter how Kenyans are angry with this grand announcement, they need to remember that as well. Probably the essence of human nature is coming in. If you go back to the Bible, King Solomon started out very well. You remember?
Yeah.
When he was young, he asked God for wisdom on how to handle the people of Israel, right? Then the people loved Solomon because of his wisdom, because of knowledge and understanding that God had given him. He slept an ordinary man and he woke up a man full of wisdom, knowledge and understanding, endowed by God.
Yes.
As a result of that encounter, now, as a result of all the wealth and everything that he amassed, Solomon, in his evening years, decided to join the women who were allied to other gods like Asherah and the gods, the gods of this world.
Yeah.
And that is how he lost his legacy. I don't know whether that is the same with this man. I don't know. But let's wait and see.
So tuko na Philip Atunga anasema, I am Honorable Philip Atunga from Kisii County. We Kisii community, we can't aboard that government. We stand with Matiang'i to the letter. And tuko na mtu amereply kwa hiyo comment anasema simameni tu. Tuko na Ole Paraku anasema tuko hapa siku zote. Asante sana kwa kutuni. Na tuko na mwingine Mahmud Moha anasema sina budi hasira kwa wingi. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tuko pia live kwa YouTube. Unaweza vuka kwa YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us CV Kenya, na tutashukuru.